Saturday, November 17th, 2018, in Tysons Conner, McLean, Virginia, at the Tower Club, a seminar on Neo-Hewn Dean Physiognomy and Geomancy was hosted by Ava Nguyen and Sarah Rodriguez for Professor Quyen Quang Tran. This seminar was conducted to meet the need of the people who are interested in studying Neo-Hewn Dean Physiognomy, Neo-Hewn Dean Geomancy, and their applications in people's daily life. The keynote speakers, Dr. Hai Lee, Dr. McDonald Benjamin, and Quyen Nguyen, delivered presentations that covered rich topics, including the journey of all physiognomy books of Professor Quyen Tran, how to apply physiognomy in aspects of life, the activities and achievements of the nonprofit organizations Friends of the Disabled that was founded by Professor Quyen Tran, and many study cases on physiognomy and geomancy. Notably, Neo-Hewn Dean Geomancy was generally introduced to the audiences for the very first time. This subject, as an experimental science, is not new, since it goes hand in hand with Neo-Hewn Dean Physiognomy in providing guidance to look for a good house to live in, a good location to run a business, or a good place to build a national government building or a national landmark. Along with the two well-known versions in Vietnamese and English, the third version, very highly anticipated, of the book in Spanish, Physiognomía, el arte de leer a las personas, has just been released on July 30th, 2018. This book was released to better serve the Spanish-speaking community in the world. The book was translated by Dr. McDonald Benjamin together with his wife, Dr. Adriana Salcedo. During the event, Professor Quyen Tran had an opportunity to sign copies of his book in all editions, Vietnamese, English, and Spanish. All of the proceeds of the sale of these books are dedicated to a charity organization named Friends of the Disabled, FOD. This organization was founded by Professor Quyen Tran. By the end of 2018, we are proud to announce that the FOD has supported more than 3,000 patients with financial difficulties, of which 2,800 received free cataract surgeries to restore their eyesight. Starting in 2017, the FOD has funded the St. Jude's Children's Cancer Research Hospital and several individual cases in critical condition that needed emergency operations. In this seminar, the participants had an opportunity to explore deeper into the world of Neo-Hewn Dean Physiognomy and Geomancy with mysterious but interesting stories from the author, Professor Quyen Quang Tran, and the panel of Dr. Hai Lee, Dr. McDonald Benjamin, Mr. Quyen Nguyen, and the hosts Ava Nguyen and Sarah Rodriguez. Most of the participants enjoyed the stories and felt very highly enthusiastic in the question and answer sections until the end. And they all impatiently look forward to the next seminar on the way out. We appreciated everybody that came to support us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next event.
Welcome you all to the Art of Reading People. So Ava and I were talking, and we've always been very interested in the physiognomy of people, reading people, because it's part of what we do for a living, right? Whether you're in sales or whatever business you're in, you're constantly looking at people, assessing them, and making a judgment like that to know exactly how to be able to effectively communicate with them. What really interested me about this topic is not only that I'm always making judgments on people to be able to know how to better communicate with them, but guess what? They're also judging me to see how they can better communicate with me. So while I've been reading the book, it's been very interesting to see how my features in my face, or how I dress, or how I wear my hair and conduct myself, what am I telling other people by my conjunto, by putting a lot together? What does it say about me? What does my nose? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to have a good life? What does my feature say about me? But also put it in practice with how you live your life. how we're looking at people. Is that the best partner for me in business or just a friend? And more importantly, what am I giving, what presentation am I putting out there when I'm going out there in society? So I hope you guys truly, truly, truly enjoy this as much as I have. If you want to purchase your book, if you haven't already, you don't have it here, we can take care of that on the back for you, and then I will make sure that the book is signed for you. So thank you so much, and here my co-host Ava.
Learn a little bit about this art. It used to be very mystical, but thanks to our Professor Quyen here and Dr. Hai, they've really kind of broke it down into a method and a little science for us so that all of us can learn a bit and how to help us perform in daily life. So before we start, we do want to introduce everyone to some of our guest speakers today. Of course, our guest of honor is our Professor Quyen Quang Tran, over there. And next we have Dr. Bit Hai Lei over here. And he is Professor Quyen's star student. And then also in the room, I'm trying to scan for Ann. Oh, there he is. So Ann. And then right in the middle of the room, Dr. Benjamin and Dr. Salcedo, please step up. So let's just go ahead and get started. So who is Professor Quyen Tran, right? So I learned about him when I moved back from California because I heard my family, they got the benefit of consulting with him, and all of a sudden their life is almost perfect. And so I'm like, what, really? Because I feel like I'm in midlife crisis right now. And so they're like, you gotta talk to him. And I said, I don't know about that. I'm scared. And they're like, why are you scared? What if he sees right through me? And so they said, well, what do you have to lose? What are you hiding, right? So I ventured out, but guess what? It took me like 2 years to finally get a chance meeting with him. And so with that, I finally got my facial reading. And then I realized that when I was unhappy in my first career, it was right, because that wasn't the right career for me. So he helped me find the right career for me. So all the realtors in the room, that's me. So that really, because my previous career kept me in a box, and my physiognomy is somewhat of kind of like a free spirit. So as a pharmacist, that's what I was. I was counting pills in the 4 walls, so I was trapped and it was a prison. So in real estate, I get to migrate everywhere and see clients, meet new people. So he really helped me in that 30-minute reading to really help me find my purpose and fulfillment, believe it or not. But it really gave me direction right away. And I was speaking to Dr. Benjamin back there, and I just said it was very purposeful. And now I find fulfillment and calmness in the heart. And every chance I get to promote his book or his art, I try to do that. So a little bit about Professor Tran. So, you know, he started his career as a math teacher. That was his undergrad major. He studied math at Saigon University. And then he got his master at Deloitte University. And then he worked as a consultant for agribusiness. And then he had the opportunity to come to the U.S. and study at a university in agro-industrial business. So through his career, he kind of migrated as well. And then he landed to the private sector of the World Bank, which is the International Finance Corporation. So many years he practiced that, but just because he did his more scientific, technical side, he always had a curiosity since he was young. So he had the good fortune when he was about 20 years old to meet his master, Mr. Mo Hung. And this gentleman, you just have to look him up, because in the Vietnamese history, he was famous or beyond famous. He was our Nostradamus. And he helped many leaders, many wealthy business people succeed in life because he can, again, read your face and certain things and help them with geomancy, placement of places or your house or whatever, and really help them optimize their life and find happiness. So he got to study under Mr. Mohomio for about almost 10 years, and then he went to the United States. And then he's been practicing it for 50 years. Those of you who have a chance, good luck to meet him. You'll see that no matter how much you read the book, it's impossible to convey his intuition, but there's more to it. And then the most common thing everybody's been coming to tell me is, oh my God, I feel so peaceful whenever I'm in his presence. So I'm like, yeah, me too. So I always see him. When I'm stressed, I see him. So, but anyway, so that's a little bit about Mr. Quyen Quang Tran. I know him as Quyen, so it keeps it simple. So, so that's his profile. And now I just want to share with you some physiognomy cases that I've heard of or I personally experienced. I told you a little bit of how he read me and how I changed career, and now I'm like a million times happier. But also another case I heard of was that he helped this one person. It's a couple. They were a young couple. They've been in the U.S. for a couple of years, and they lived in an apartment. And then when their family, their parents sold their townhouse right here in Falls Church, they came by and they said, you know, we'll take it over for you since you already bought the other house, and you know, it's family, so family transaction inside. So they asked him, well, do you think this is a good buy for us? And he said yes. And the reason why they say, is it a good buy, like just good luck wise or what have you? But it's more than that, because the wife asked him, do you think I have a shot of having more kids? Because at this point, they already had one son. And the son was probably, I think, 4 years old or so, but around that age. And everybody said, no, she talked to an astrologer and all these people, and they said, nope, you're only gonna have one kid, just one kid. And then, but she's like, but I have this urge to have a daughter and more kids and things like that to kind of complete the family. And so when Mr. Quinn came, she basically asked the same question, and he said, yeah, if you buy this house, in about 5 years, you will have a daughter. And she's like, what? And then, again, years passed by, they moved in and what have you. And then and then she also asked, like, will the house bring me love? And because I don't have a job, I've been a stay-at-home mom, I'm really scared to go back to the workforce. Do you think I have a shot? And then, so he said, yeah, this house is gonna bring you jobs. It's a very good house for you and for your husband and you. And so when they moved in, she got a job within like a year, right? But again, years go by, she's busy working, raising the child. And then at about 4 years, 4.5 years, she had twins, boy and a girl. And she said, what the heck? And so she's like, can I get another meeting with him? Because I want to show him, look, you were right. So, so basically that was it. So when Mr. Quinn said, move into this house, it will help you realize your dreams and your desire, because everything aligns nicely to bring that up. So she achieved her dreams and really completed. So that's one story. And then down the road, we'll have wine sometime. I'll tell you about mine. But I was in the wrong house. And, oh, sorry, that's later. Sorry, that's for the end. But again, the physiognomy is really about me changing careers. And I really personally felt it. And there's a totally deep calm in my heart, because back in my other career, you collect a paycheck, a pretty good, healthy paycheck. Now you're going out and working for your paycheck. Selling is a scary world. And I know you guys probably don't think I'm shy, but I am a shy introvert. And so when they said I have to do sales, I said, what? I can't do sales. I'm scared. I don't know what to sell. I'm not a talker. I know, I am. But to sell. And so I was so scared. But then you realize there's different types of sales and things like that. But when I had to take that leap of faith, I did it. And that's the thing, is when Professor Quyen tells you, you do it, and 2 feet, all up, like all out. So that's really the physiognomy part of it. So next, I want to introduce the professor. I know everyone's been waiting to hear what the professor has to say, and so I will turn on the mic.
I'd like to express my special thanks to Eva, Sarah, and Hai, who have kindly helped me to organize this meeting for book signing, so that I can have a chance to sign your book as a gesture to appreciate your support and your presence here today. I hope you will find the book interesting to read. The book contains all of the fundamentals of physiognomy for the beginners and many advanced topics for the researcher. After reading the book, contemplate every single subject, you'll be able to use the Vietnamese physiognomy in daily life. Thank you very much. Dr. Levitai, the key speaker today.
Yeah.
She will take you to all of the areas of work leading to today's book signing. Dear Dr. Hai.
Thank you. And then very quick before Dr. Hai start, so again, as we go into the journey of the 3 books and the introduction of the Spanish version, a lot of things that you do analyze, you'll see the different parts, and in the beginning it could be very technical, but through time and exposure it becomes easier to understand. And actually, after 3 years, I'm starting, not to say I can do it, but I can recognize some of the features and understand and apply it to my daily life. But just know in the end, and with the Mr. Ngo Hong Ying's teaching, it's all about our heart. So everything, it takes the heart to get the love, and the more you do it, it improves your countenance. And you're gonna see that's a key important thing. You can't change a few things, but you can change your countenance. And as a famous 16th century poet mentioned, sorry, my little notes went out, he did say, and this is how ancient the art is, basically a Vietnamese poet from the 16th century said, ever since the beginning of time, man's will quite often triumphed over destiny. And a lot of what you're learning is that you can change it, but it's a temporary thing. You can do it, but if you continue to do good and do your actions through your heart, it will last longer. Okay, and it kind of improves your karma. So, but we all know that, right? So, okay, without further ado, I'll bring up Dr. Hai.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Quyen Tran for his introduction. A big thank you to Sarah and Eva for hosting this wonderful event, and to all of you here this afternoon for your support for Professor Quyen and his books. So today I'm honored to share with you our journey, a journey that allows us to complete 3 versions of the book. Physiognomy, the art of reading people in 3 different languages: Vietnamese, English, and Spanish. What is special about this book? Why it's different from other physiognomy books, and how can one apply Ngo Hong Ying's physiognomy in all aspects of life? So first of all, what is physiognomy? By definition, physiognomy is the art of reading people to assess a person's characters, personality, and even his or her futures. In Vietnam, physiognomy has been practiced for thousands of years. To this day, many people still use it as a guide for choosing spouses, friends, business partners, helpers, and even leaders. So as you may know, physiognomy is well known in different countries. In Greece, physiognomy practices was well accepted by ancient Greek philosophers. In China, it has been known as face reading or mianxins. Many books has been written on the subjects, although they generally focus only on the forms of the facial features known as facial physiognomy. This book, however, not only takes the forms of a person's facial features into account, but also the voice, color, and countenance. Moreover, it also considers a person's entire body as well as the way they walk, sit, dance, etc. The principle governing these four key areas of form, voice, color, and countenance are supplemented by physiognomy laws to make physiognomy become a truly empirical natural science. The heart is the supreme physiognomy features which impacts the form, the voice, the color, and the countenance to make these domains better or worse. So this book holds over 100 years worth of experience from the practice of physiognomy by two masters, Mr. Mu Hsin and Professor Quyen Tran. The book is designed to present a great depth the wealth of lessons in physiognomy that Professor Quyen Tran learned from Mr. Mu Hsin, who was undisputedly the greatest physiognomist of his time in Vietnam and beyond. Indeed, it would not be an exaggeration to compare Mr. Hsin's innate ability in the practice of physiognomy to that of Nostradamus, Mozart, Beethoven, Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci, Shakespeare, or Einstein in their respective fields. So how can Mu Hsin's physiognomy be applied in all aspects of life? With a quick glance, you can see that this book is written in a textbook and covers sufficient ground to enable a reader to apply them in his or her daily life. After reading this book, you should be able to observe and interpret the full range of basic physiognomy features, piece different physiognomy features together in sets or as a coherent whole, comprehend the subtle natures of form, color, voice, and countenance in physiognomy. Understand how the methodologies of reading physiognomy is applied to 40 sample case studies. Most of these focus on physiognomy features relating to life and death, success and failure, close friendships versus mortal enmities, romantic relationships, marital happiness, children's futures, fame, and fortune, and understand the general usefulness of Mr. Mu Hsin's physiognomy in all aspects of life. The strength of Mr. Mu Hsin's physiognomy lies in its clearly defined laws. Once a person has mastered this, he or she should be able to make predictions with a reasonable degree of accuracy. For the accuracy of his predictions, Mr. Mu Hsin was sometimes called angel, saint, or divine master, although he would humbly and politely dismiss any such exalted titles. So how was this book born? Someone once said that writing books is the closest man ever come to childbearing. It is true. I have 3 kids, so I really understand it. It is true, writing a book is a little bit like bearing a child, but you only need 9 months to deliver a beautiful baby. But this book, it took Professor Quyen Tran 10 years to gather all his knowledge in physiognomy and organize it in a scientific way for the readers to understand and apply it. The first version of the book in Vietnamese was published in 2010 and became a bestseller in Vietnamese community. Then 5 more years to translate this book and turn it into an expanded and enriched editions in English, and another 2 more years to translate the expanded version carefully into Spanish so as to introduce to the Spanish-speaking community. So translation of this book to English was exceptionally difficult because physiognomy is not a common and popular subject unlike in Asia. It is one of the most mysterious and ancient sciences. Many physiognomy concepts introduced in this book are completely new to English readers. A lot of new terms had to be developed to capture the subtle nuances of physiognomy and was introduced in the book. We worked very thoroughly just to ensure that every word we put down would provide the most accurate information possible for the readers to be able to understand the physiognomy concepts being described. Additionally, we also have nearly 500 well-illustrated pictures in this book. We hope that with all this hard work and effort, we can offer you the best understanding and insights possible for this rich, subtle, but invaluable fields of learning. After the book has been successfully completed in English, Professor Quyen Tran had the wonderful idea of exploring whether the book could be introduced to the Spanish-speaking community. To this end, he turned to Dr. McDonald Benjamin, who has been accompanying us all the way in editing the English version, and who was delighted to take on this big task together with his wife, Dr. Adriana Sancedo. We are very lucky to have had Dr. Benjamin and Dr. Sancedo translate the book into Spanish. They combine a deep knowledge of the Spanish language with a deep understanding and appreciation for Asian culture, and we are confident that you will thoroughly enjoy this carefully translated version of the book in Spanish. Dr. Benjamin has been working with the World Bank for 24 years, including 14 years in Latin America and the Caribbean. And Dr. Sancedo is a scholar and practitioner in the area of conflict analysis and resolution, and who has taught, among other places, in the United Nations mandated University for Peace. So please welcome Dr. Benjamin and Dr. Sancedo. Thank you.
Good afternoon to each and every one of you here. There's nothing more sincere that a person can give to another person than their time. And so I think all of us are grateful that each and every one of you has decided to share your time with us this afternoon. Our thanks go clearly to Sarah, to Ava, and Professor Quyen, and to Hai for making this possible. 31 years ago, back in 1987, I was working as a young consultant at the World Bank when I decided to join a Tai Chi class. That's when I first met Master Quyen Tran. I had hoped to learn a martial art that would be effective, but not as painful as karate. But Master Quyen taught Tai Chi not as a martial art, but as a way of living a healthy life, and indeed, as a way of life. I learned about the way that Tai Chi increases the flow of vital energy in one's body, harmonizing yin and yang forces to create a strength and a serenity that few other exercises can provide, and that carries over into our daily lives. To watch Master Quyen practice Tai Chi in his flowing white outfit was a thing of beauty because of the vital energy that shone in his movements. Master Quyen also introduced me to Qigong, the Chinese yoga-like exercise wherein one learns to direct Qi, or vital energy, with one's mind. Now, 31 years later, I continue to practice Tai Chi and Qigong as Master Quyen has taught me. My Master Quyen soon became my friend Quyen. And not just my friend, but a dearest friend to all my family. I shall never forget the day my sister, who is here with us today, first met Quyen. We went to his office, and his door was open, and as he looked up at us, it was as if the most radiant, beaming smile had risen out from inside him and come right out of the door to greet us. My sister just turned around to me and said, "Oh my God, what a smile." And when she went in, she too was beaming from ear to ear. The generosity with which Quyen has shared his time and his wisdom and kindness over the years with me, with my family, and with all who have come to him for his wise counsel and friendship is deeply humbling. With time, I came to learn about Master Quyen's deep knowledge of feng shui, or feng dui, which is the ancient Eastern art of understanding and improving the flow of vital energy in the spaces in which we live. When we live in areas with bad energy or energy blockages, we will encounter failures and sickness and other misfortunes in our lives. But when we move to spaces or create spaces that encourage a healthy flow of qi around us, we feel harmony and enjoy better health and good fortune. Master Quyen has shared this knowledge, which by the way is the subject of his next book, with me on many occasions, and he has helped many people who have approached him to improve, for example, the layout and vitality of their homes, or to increase the number of customers and sales revenues from their businesses. In our own case, Master Quyen helped us select our home when we moved to the United States in 2005 after many years abroad. We lived happily in that home for 8 years, and when we went abroad again for work in 2012 and rented out our home, our tenant said she wanted to live in that home because of the good energy she felt there. In addition to his mastery of Tai Chi and Qigong and Feng Shui, over time I came to understand and to witness Master Quyen's deep knowledge of physiognomy. I was not a natural believer in physiognomy, but there was a wisdom and an uncanny accuracy in his insights and predictions that just could not be denied, and that led me to want to learn more. Much like Master Quyen learned Tai Chi from one of the great masters who escaped from China back in 1949, Master Quyen learned physiognomy in Vietnam from one of the greatest practitioners in the art, Master No Hung Zien. At one point, when Quyen was studying with Master Tien predicted that Quyen would be separated from his family for 10 years. As you can imagine, this caused Quyen deep dismay. When he traveled to the United States to study just before the fall of Saigon, Master Tien's prediction came true. Quyen could not return to Saigon, and his family could not leave Vietnam. And then something else happened. The prediction became not a source of dismay, but a source of hope, because Quyen knew that with time he would be reunited with his family. And that is indeed what happened exactly 10 years later. Master Quyen has advised thousands of people over the years, always freely giving of his time to do so. Not all of us have heeded his advice. On one occasion, he pleaded with one person not to take his family out of town as planned for a vacation. Master Quyen even went to the person's home to beg him to reconsider. But the person went all the same. On the road, his car was hit by a truck that came out of nowhere, and the man tragically lost all the members of his family. In my own case, when I was living in South America, I got a message while I was on holiday in Asia that my home in South America had been burgled. When I returned home and found that little had been stolen, but that the burglars had gone through my financial papers, I came to worry about being a target for kidnapping. Indeed, I soon spotted someone trying to take pictures of me, and immediately had to take several precautions, like move out of my home and hire a bodyguard. Master Quyen read my face at that time and told me, "Yes, you're in great danger of being kidnapped during the next 6 months. It cannot happen during the working day because you have too much positive energy in your work. But beware of the transition between day and night, and of going out in the evenings." I told him I had a bodyguard and a driver, and he said, "It does not matter. Anyone with you could be killed." So for the next several months, I took care not to go out. And one day, a few months after Master Quyen's warning, I just felt this huge weight of energy fall off me, and I felt light again. Shortly after that, I saw Master Quyen in Washington, and he read my face again, and he said, "Yes, it's over. You made it too difficult for them. The risk is gone." If I had not seen Master Quyen, I would have assumed I was fine with a bodyguard. I would not have known to avoid going out in evenings, and I would likely have been kidnapped, and dear people around me would likely have lost their lives. Let me be clear. Physiognomy is by no means all about calamities. On the contrary, there are numerous features that point to people having great wealth or enjoying happy marriages or great successes in their careers. And there are numerous examples of ways in which physiognomy readings can help all of us not only to understand the risks of calamities we may face, but also to make the best choices in terms of compatible partners and friends, or to go for the best work or business opportunities. There are different areas of the face that reveal what is likely to happen in different parts of our lives. For example, on the forehead in relation to our careers, or on the nose in relation to wealth, or on the chin in relation to the later parts of our lives and to our children. There are different parts of the features, for example, the nose, that indicate when in a person's life certain events are likely to happen. i.e., one can look not only at wealth in relation to the nose, but also at the timing of the wealth based on characteristics on different parts of the nose. There are different ways in which these features may look. For example, polished, or dusty white, or brown, or overstretched, or muddy, or unnaturally planted, that point to misfortunes or inopportune timings for new ventures. And other ways in which the features may appear, for example, rosy, purply orange, bright, firm but supple, naturally planted, and coherent with the surrounding areas, and full of countenance or vitality, that point to good fortune and opportunities in different aspects of our lives. When there's consistency across different features, including to the extent that they form key standard sets of features, or when there's consistency across the features of one person, the features of their actual or potential partners or rivals, the predictions that one can make can be made with even greater confidence. Physiognomy therefore provides us with tools to better understand and guide our human interactions, including whom we should seek to be closer to, and whom we should avoid or be more careful to trust, and where and when we can achieve our best potential for happiness and success. If we invest a little time in reading this book, we can obtain a foundation in physiognomy that can help us to achieve greater happiness, health, and harmony in our lives. And if we want to invest more time, there's all the depth and wisdom and subtlety of a PhD in physiognomy in the 600 pages of this book. This is a book that was first written in Vietnamese and was extremely well received in the Vietnamese community. It was then translated into English, and I had the privilege of working with Master Quyen and with Dr. Hai and various other colleagues in the editing of the expanded version in English. And finally, over the past 2 years, my wife and I have had the privilege to work on the translation of this book into Spanish. And it is our hope that its wisdom will thereby become available to the entire Spanish-speaking world. In making this book available in Vietnamese, English, and today in Spanish, there are two good deeds associated with the book that are worth highlighting. One, it is Master Quyen's hope that, much as thousands of people have benefited from his physiognomy readings, even larger numbers of people will benefit from the knowledge shared in this book to make their lives and the lives of those around them more harmonious, healthy, and fulfilling. And second, none of the profits from this book go to the author or to anyone else associated with this book. They all go to charity. Indeed, since the first version of this book came out, the proceeds from the book have financed cataract operations that have restored the vision of more than 2,000 poor men, women, and children in Vietnam, as well as other actions to support the disabled. It is only fitting that the gift of sight to these people should come from a book that can in turn open the eyes of the readers to a whole new way of understanding the world, namely through physiognomy. Thank you very much.
To talk a little bit about the Physiognomy Institute and the charities that Dr. Benjamin just mentioned.
I hope you enjoy the program and have a good time so far. Today I will talk about PII, which stands for Physiognomy Institute Incorporation. The mission of PII is to convey fundamental knowledge to our reader. How do we do that? We create a few communication channels to reach out to you. The first one, of course, is the book, Physiognomy, The Art of Reading People, in 3 different languages, Vietnamese, English, and Spanish. And this is why we are here today. First of all, the second channel is our website. We launched our website at pii-us.com and also at tương.com to get closer to more people. When you access our website, you will see that we have a library. In the library, you can access to our video, audio, articles as a reference to study. If you would like to buy our book or refer your friend or family to buy our book, we have the direct link to Amazon. And from our website, you can see our activity. PII very proud that we has funded to the non-profit organization, Friends of the Disabled, founded by Professor Quyen. And this organization has funded for more than 3,000 eye surgery operations in Vietnam and elderly people. And this organization also make donation to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and East Cancer Research Center. If you would like to make donation, you can go to our website. We have a tab for donation. In that one, you will have the history of the organization and also the form for you to fill out. And if you would like to see, we have the manager over there, Mr. Quyen Quang. He's in charge of the Friends of the Disabled. Last but not least, if you would like to raise your question, comment, or concern, you can access our website to fill out the form. And we even, right now, we have to deal with a lot of requests. We might not able to answer each and every one of you, but you are welcome to contact us for any issue. The last channel is we use social media, such as Facebook and YouTube channel. If you would like to follow us or subscribe to YouTube channel, you receive a notification when we post a new case for you to study. I believe you will enjoy the book because it offers a fascinating way of looking at your faith and destiny. Learning physiognomy is not easy. It takes time. However, when you learn sufficient knowledge about physiognomy, you can apply it into your daily life to increase your karma, good karma, and also to reduce bad karma, in order to pursue like happiness, longevity, prosperity, and peace. It doesn't matter how many times you read the book. From my own experience, the more and more time I read the book, I realize that there is a very silent but very strong message that Professor Quyen wants to promote it to everyone. Just keep doing the good deeds. When you're doing a good deed, it doesn't matter small or big, just it has to come from the bottom of your heart. If you practice this teaching, you will benefit it right from your current life. And if you do a lot more, you can save it for your next life. And I think that's it for me today. Good luck, everyone.
So next, I think you guys will be really excited about this part, because when we were discussing the program, Sarah and I asked Dr. Hyde, when we leave here, can we learn like some takeaway skills right away? And a lot of us are business people in here. So I said, what can we do to, enhance our business skills? So next we're gonna have Dr. Hai talk about some essential physiognomy features. Oh, the chairs are gonna wait. It's gonna be 10, 15 more minutes. Thank you. So, but just one quick story, just for kicks, is years ago, in 2015, my sister and I was riding in the car, going to lunch with Professor Quyen, and we were just joshing around, saying, what do you think about the election? You know, like the GOP has so many candidates, and at the time the field had like about 16 people. And then at that time, they just kind of like threw it around that Donald Trump might run for office. And we were laughing. We're like, isn't that funny? You're fired! You know, and we're just talking about it in the car, and we're laughing. And he calmly just looks back and said, well, that's the only one that's gonna be president. And we're like, what? Him? And he's like, yeah, look at his physiognomy. And I'm like, what? He's so, like, what? And he's like, look at the mouth, his mouth. And I'm sure there's more you can share, but what I remember was that he has an arrow mouth and is shot like this when he talks. And so that's a powerful mouth. And so we're like, okay, wow, that's funny. Oh my God, Donald Trump being president? Oh my God. And he hasn't announced his presidency, but I said, really? Are you sure? There's Michael Bloomberg and all these business people that can turn it around. And he's like, no, that's the only guy. Michael Bloomberg, when he gets in there, he's gonna have a heart attack. This guy, oh, this, and all of this prediction, right? And then he said, but Donald Trump has to surpass an assassination. If he can surpass an assassination, nothing can stop him in his presidency. So does anybody remember when he did announce it, there was that mini assassination attempt in Las Vegas from a British guy from California? And well, it was like August of 2016, and I said, does that count? Because that was lame. That wasn't really, he was about to do like a knife or something. So anyway, that was the assassination attempt, and so he became president. So, but Quinn predicted that way before. But it's one of those things like, it kind of makes you stop and think like, whoa. So anyway, with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Hai Becca to teach us a few essential physiognomy features when we pick our partners and things like that. It's a little bit dry in the beginning because it's very scientific kind of approach. So just read it like a textbook. I know through the years that I would say like about 2-3 years now, I always go back in and I look up certain features. And I look it up, and I'll give you an example. One of my assistants, she asked for love. Who's her perfect match? When is she gonna find it? And things like that. And Professor Quinn said it. Okay, hold on.
I would like to give you some examples of how important physiognomy can be applied in your daily life. So physiognomy is very practical and can be applied to all aspects of life. Here we would like to share with you some essential physiognomy features that can help to understand how physiognomy can be applied in your daily life. A question: how can one recognize a dishonest person? I guess it's a good question for all of us. Whenever we deal with people in your daily life, if, for example, you are a business person and you are working on a major deal, and you are looking for a good partner for a big project, this question should be addressed seriously. So following us some example of physiognomy features that can help you to identify a dishonest person. So if a potential partner possesses one of these features, you should pay extra cautions and keep alert, but don't jump the gun too quick and make any final conclusion. So first, we have people with U-shaped eyes. So as you can see, U-shaped eyes are long and slender with pointy head and tails, either all curving up or all curving down. So in this drawing, it's curving up. So the eyelids are usually brown, and U-shaped eyes are bad in form and countenance. People with U-shaped eyes are base, dishonest, and weak. So one should observe the countenance of the eyes carefully so as not to be confused with phoenix eyes. The two two types of eyes are very different in physiognomy. You may be very curious. So what are phoenix eyes? So for clarifications, phoenix eyes are long and the pointy heads of the eyes curving down and their long tails point up. The bottom of these eyes are wavy. The pupils are round and the colors are clearly defined. And the eyelids are clear, bright, and beautiful in form and countenance. So this is the most distinguished and precious physiognomy features. Queen Elizabeth of England has this type of eyes. So one should observe the eyes when a person is not talking or laughing. So phoenix eyes should not be confused with ill-shaped eyes. So next we have a people with conniving eyes. There are many variations, conniving eyes. The following are common types. People that bulge out and have a cruel gaze, brown eyelids, and a dishonest countenance. So this is the real pictures. I just, took a part of his face. Ill-shaped eyes coupled with brown eyelids increase the degree to which a person is cunning. A person with triangular eyes that are wide on three sides. There are visible white areas on the bottom, left and right sides of the pupil. Is both cunning and cruel. So triangular eyes for which the bottom of the eyes curving from head to tail reveal a dishonest and ruthless physiognomy. The second type is the bottom of the eyes run in a straight line from head to tail reveal a more dishonest and ruthless physiognomy. The top of the eyes fold out into two equal, forming a perfect triangle, reveal an extremely dishonest and ruthless physiognomy. And here the real pictures. This one is the pictures of a killer. In all three situations above, if the eyelids are loose, the cruelty is lessened a lot. So you can see this is an example of the real person with triangular eyes. Another bad features of a dishonest person is heavy upper and light lower face portions. A person with this physiognomy is a scoundrel and extremely evil. And you want to see a real picture? This is the one. And the cheekbones look like they have been pulled out outwards, like they try to flat the face. With careful observations, one can confirm a stressed face by noting that this person also has a broad, not long thorax and stooping shoulders. A person with stressed face is base and cunning, a hypocrite and never has sincere intentions about anything, and very greedy. So it took me a lot, a hard time to find, a person with a stressed face. So I hope they are not, common at all. So you want another feature is bony face. Person is also very evil. This type of person can kill others when angry. And I didn't have a hard time to find this persons, unfortunately, because it is everywhere on internet. So you look a profile of killer, so you can find. Most of them have this type of face. So another, parts of physiognomy. So now you know how to recognize, identify the dishonest person. So another question is how to find a good partner for you to, to work with. So good, how to choose a good partner. When looking for a good partner with whom to do business, a person who possesses the following physiognomy features could help you increase your chances of being successful. And we all want that, right? So any person who possesses the following features: normal upper and fully developed lower face portions, a person with good wealth zone, a person with good benefit zone. So a person with normal upper and fully developed lower face portions is more beneficial to his business partner than to himself. Anyone who partners with this person in business will be successful. So hopefully you will recognize this person, right? So he's a billionaire. This is Mr. Carlos Slim is one example. And as you can see, his lower face proportion is fully developed with massive wealth mouth. And when I still remember the first time when when my first lesson in physiognomy with Professor Quyen Tran, I kept asking him, so where's my wealth mouth? Where's all the wealth mouth on my face? And he looked at, no, you don't. You don't have that. Because people with a massive mouth like this, it's going to be a millionaires or billionaires. So I only have enough money for me. Okay, so what is wealth zone? There are two types of wealth zone. The steady wealth zone is located on the nose, while unsteady wealth zone can be seen on the cheeks. So you can look at two different pictures right here, and you look at the nose of the first picture, a person in the first pictures, and the other wealth mouth on the second picture or photo. So, however, wells also can appear in other areas, such as the corners of the forehead, like in this situation, where we refer to it as wells on the benefit zone, the area around the mouth, where we refer to it as a well mouth, or on the jaws, where we refer to it as well's jaws. So well refers not only to properties and assets, but also to blessings. Giving up some wealth to do good, charitable deeds, is a way to accumulate blessings that can help to overcome future calamities. Just like a fame of sexual relationships, wealth is a key factor that can also bring failure and notoriety. Failures or notoriety related to wealth is an everyday phenomenon that happens to many people at all levels of our societies. Now we're talking about major or minor shareholder. So the tip of your nose represents the self, while the nose wings represents subordinates. Proportion between your nose tip and your nose wings can help determine the relative shares between yourself and your business partner. A person with a small nose tip and big and full nose wings should hold less than 50% of the total number of shares in a joint venture, because this person relies on others for profits. A person with a big nose tip and small nose wings should hold more than 50% of the total number of shares in the joint venture, because others rely on this person for profits. So one should look at the nose to determine the relative shares between the self and the others only when evaluating business and wealth, not fame or success in a career. So the benefit zone is composed of the two upper corner areas of the forehead and areas along the edge of the hairline. The benefit zones represent fame and fortunes, not blessings. And in fact, the physiognomy of the benefit zone normally represents fortunes more than fame. A benefit zone that is bright, clear, and full is a sign that this person succeeds easily in obtaining fame as well as fortune. This person usually enjoys more profits than the others in the joint ventures. So above are just some example of how Wong Zien's physiognomy can apply to different aspects of life as you explore the book and begin to understand what features related to what aspects of one's life and what factors need to be understood to be able to foresee what will happen in different aspects of one's life or one's relationship. You will find a gold mine in useful information that reflects almost 100 years of experience practicing physiognomy between Mr. Wong Zien and Professor Quyen Tran. And we hope that you will enjoy the book and that it may enrich your understanding of yourself and your relationships, and that you may find something helpful in it and for you and for your loved ones. So in the next sessions, I would like to share with you some highlights from Professor Quyen Tran's forthcoming book on Vietnamese Geomancy. And I'm sorry, Ava, I don't need your introduction, so can I go ahead? Yeah. All right. Talking about physiognomy, you cannot leave geomancy alone, because Mo Hong Zien physiognomy and geomancy go hand in hand when the physiognomist provides advice to a person who is looking for a good house to live, a good location to run a business, or a good place to build a national government building or national landmark. In this section, I would like to discuss some general concepts in Ngôn Diễn Geomancy. Ngôn Diễn Geomancy is natural science, and this art of geomancy does not deal with the occult aspects of the Tysons geomancy in any way. Instead, it is applied with view to benefiting from the key or vital energies of the universe and from the best arrangements of objects and structure to encourage the flow of key based on the laws of harmony and the laws of functionality. These two laws are used to create a harmonious and functional living environment for the well-being of all subjects affected by these surroundings. So, what is Qi? Qi is the vital energy of the universe. The presence of Qi in an area can be seen from the cleanness and freshness of the air, the greenness of the leaves of the trees, the solidity and the beautiful shapes of the trunks and the branches of the trees, or the various types of colors of the paint, bricks, stone on the walls of structures over time. So how does Ngôn Diễn Geomancy work? Ngôn Diễn Geomancy provides guidance on ways to observe and direct the Qi of an area so that it flows to property and makes the property more favorable for subjects living on that property, as well as to create a logical arrangement of objects in the area and on the property that makes the objects on the property fully functional. An area with abundance of Qi and with objects that are well arranged is a very good place for people living or working there. So another question is how to apply Ngôn Diễn Geomancy? The first step in Ngôn Diễn Geomancy is to identify, define all of the essential features of property. These include the access roads to the area and to the property, the front or backyards, the big trees, the buildings, the main entrance door, and the floor plan, etc. The property under evaluations will be evaluated against corresponding sets of Ngôn Diễn Geomancy principle. So in scale of 10, if its final score is above 7, the property is worth considering for the further step that can enhance the flows of Qi. Whereas if its final score is below 7, the property should ideally be avoided, and as it will require much more remedial work and may in some cases have deficiencies that cannot be remedied within a reasonable period of time. So many times when we went out with Professor Quyen Tran to see properties and to give advices to people about their decisions in choosing a property. So a lot of times he didn't even stop to get into the property or into the house to take a look. He just drove by past and he said, "Oh no, this one is not the one. We don't waste the time to look inside." So that means those properties that was under 7 score. The Ngôn Diễn Geomancy is composed of a list of essential geomancy features, their descriptions, good, bad aspects, and fixable or not fixable. One thing to remember is that the problems outside the property sometimes cannot be fixed because it belongs to the neighborhood, and the problem inside you can be fixed. Another key thing to remember is that Ngôn Diễn Geomancy can be used effectively in combination with physiognomy to ensure that a property or the locations of objects on the property are suitable for and as harmonious as possible with the physiognomy of the person or persons, for example, the whole family, under consideration. Indeed, this book is unique in the field of geomancy precisely because it takes into consideration the physiognomy principle applied to the people occupying the properties, even as it provides guidance based on Gongjian geomancy to help readers improve the harmony of the property. So I still remember the first years when I learned physiognomy from Professor Quyen. I kept asking him a lot of questions about geomancy, and he told me that no, you not gonna go there. Yes, you have to master physiognomy before you study geomancy. Yes. And now he can, teach me geomancy. The understanding of physiognomy improves the guidance from the geomancy. A proper applications of geomancy principle will improve the surroundings and the well-being, and therefore the physiognomy of the persons living or working on a given property. So currently, we are working on the book on Gongjian geomancy, and we hope that the book will be published soon so that you will be able to enjoy helpful guidance from on Gongjian geomancy and its applicability in your life. And in the next session, we would like to share with you some cases which Professor Quyen Tran applied Gongjian geomancy in helping his friends when they came to him for his advices in choosing a property. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eva again.
I know we're running a little late here, but I'll try to make it super quick. We'll go down to just two. The easiest is to speak about my personal experience again. When we were in one house. We really wanted to seek Professor Quyen's help, but he was in California or somewhere, and so the deal was so good that my husband's like, just go for it, go for it. So we put in the deal, we got a great price, but once I moved in, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a happy-go-lucky person, and I sleep very well. But once I moved into that house, everything was very difficult for me. Everything, like couldn't sleep, tired, argumentative. And my husband and I have been like together forever, and we're not really like that. But we became argumentative. But something was very unsettling, not right, right? And then finally one day, through help, I got an appointment finally with Professor Quyen. And he came to visit the house, and within 10 minutes, he walked the outside only, and he came in and he had kind of like a sad look, and he said, I'm so sorry, this house does not belong to you and Dan. And I said, oh, there's a ghost? I knew it! It's keeping me up at night, isn't it? And he's like, no, there's no ghost. You're here 20 years too soon. This is not your house. This is a house for someone who's retiring. But you guys are too young. You're in business. This is not the right house for you. And I said, oh boy, and this is like end of September, right? And then I told my siblings and cousins and all that, I said, you guys, you got 4 more months to enjoy. I'm putting the house on the market come February, March. And he, again, looked serious, and he said, no, now. I said, what, now? I just got my realtor license. People will think I'm nuts to put the house in a winter market, right? And so, but he said, don't worry, I'll help you. And I said, really? Okay, because they're going to think I'm weird and not too bright to put it on the market. But he did. He gave me some advice to put this in the dining room, red in the dining room, and water kind of toward the front, a painting of water to help bring money in and things like that. So I did probably 90% of it. So I got a contract within 3 days, but I waited 7 days, but I got it. And so I'm like, whoa, but okay. And then I said, but before I put the house on the market, I said, you promised to find me another house? Because I don't know, I need your help. So he found me another house 7 minutes up the road. And again, it happened to be the first house we saw. And we're like, ew, that's not really my style. We don't like that. And he's like, well, it's you. And I'm like, what are you saying about me? I don't like that. But again, it kind of goes back to the physiognomy. It matches my husband and I. So it belongs, if I had a different companion or a spouse, it would be different. But him, that's our house. So, and it's on a busy road. And again, we're like, what? I don't like busy road and things like that. But it works because it fits our personality. So that's geomancy, and it had good energy. There's another house right up the road that we really like, but it was the case that Dr. Hai said, it had no energy, and he wouldn't get out of the car. And my husband had scheduled lunch off to go show the house, and kind of tested the water. We added 6 more houses, because the first house he picked it, and we were like, oh, already? And it's not that pretty. So we added 6 houses, and then it didn't all work out. But the house that was our favorite had no energy. And then he's like, fine, if I really have to get out, I will. But I'm telling you, you get in there, you're going to be divorced in 9 months. And we're like, oh, that defeats the purpose. Okay, move on. So that was our case. Another situation in Vietnamese, we have a saying that the house waits for its rightful owner. And so there's this couple, and they asked for his help. It's a dear friend of his, and they looked for like 2 years, like 100 homes. And they found this, they said, you know what, we've been searching and we want this house, but there's nothing that really fits us. And he kept on saying, nope, nope, nope. So they just have to build their own house. So they found the perfect lot. They put in the offer, but they didn't accept, the seller didn't accept it. So, but it sat there, and they took it off the market, and then they put it back on. Oh no, they looked around again, and then finally 2 years later, the owner called them to say, are you still interested, just by chance? And they're like, yeah, and they got a better deal. So the house was, the lot, it's the lot, the energy of it was waiting for its rightful owner to build the house there. So, and I'm in a case right now that is similar to that. And then one last one, I won't go into the whole detail, but remember I said the house has to be fitting for its owner. So there was this very successful family in the area, and they did contracting work and everything, just so successful. But they decided to build a house that kind of looked very grand, very similar to a White House, and they made it really big, but the person who was going to live there and did move in there was not fitting for that house. And he was small and stocky and short arms, short arms. I don't remember the whole story, but anyway, but it's short everything, so he's not fitting for the house. So when he moved in, like his marriage broke up and his wealth disappeared. So again, the wrong house kind of determines it, but it has to be the right, like physiognomy and geomancy goes hand in hand, and you have to go at it very holistically, is the point. So stay tuned for the geomancy book. It's coming soon, I hope. And I know a lot of you guys in the room will be excited. And again, it's just personal use, but it's a good referral guide and what have you. So with that, I want to invite Sarah back up, and we'll close it out. Of the English version at my house, and this person came up, and there was a long line to see the professor, and then she talked to Dr. Hai, and they said, oh yeah, so around 37 years old, you're probably going to be really happy. Oh, this year is going to pass all your bad, things, and then your life is going to be lighter after 37. And around that time, you're going to find your lover. And so she was like, what? And she's counting the days. This is 2 years, a year and a half or so away. So when, and then the person you should find compatible with you is someone that is square shaped, a male that's square shaped and tall. And she's like, oh gosh, there's none in my life right now. So I'm like, well, just look for a tall person or something. And so when her 37th birthday came, it was like the end of September, and she's like, nothing. I said, well, did you try dating sites? Well, what are you doing? She's like, I don't know, but I'm waiting. And I said, well, it always comes when you're not looking. So anyway, she kept on hounding me, and then we forgot about it. And then came Vietnamese too, Lunar New Year. She happened to go to a friend's house, and they were the only Caucasian people there, and they matched. I'm like, hello, what are you doing here? So anyway, good news, they've been dating for like 8 months. So hopefully, peace to them. But let's open the Q&A for our panel. Any other questions when it comes to physiognomy?
There is nothing wrong with doing plastic surgeries, but just one thing for you to keep in mind when you decide to do it, because if you have a good features, you shouldn't have a plastic surgery to destroy it. but because not anyone understands, physiognomy, so they don't know, what features they have. But the thing is, whatever you do, so don't change your personality too much. Okay, so if you know about physiognomy, you have a good nose, okay, you have good vessels, so don't make it taller or prettier, because you may destroy your webstone. And so, like for now, the trend is everyone love V-lines. So a lot of girls go with V-lines, but they don't know that jaws stands for jaw is the place for you to stand for your blessings, your wealth, and your late life periods. So you destroy the jaws. If you have good jaws, it's gonna affect your late life.
I have a question. Oh, hang on. I think the professor was going to answer more.
In case for your career, you can change it. Of course not you can, but keep in mind that enough is enough. Don't go too much. You're 60 years old, don't make you young. That's
No drastic changes.
There's a lot of problems in the family. So we can do it if we need to do it, but do it enough. Don't do too much.
And there's some times where you can add certain things to help you with something, right? So for example, like if your ears aren't big enough here, or there's certain types of earrings or things that, can you talk a little bit about things if you're deficient in one area, what you could do to help buff that up? So, or buzzing, so maybe there's a way to help us out a little bit.
Yeah. So the book, you'll read it. So that's your pot of money goal, is this little big thing. You want a big one down here. So if you don't have one, how do you make it?
So high, but there's one thing that's interesting. If you are a man, let's say you've got a very dry beard, very dry eyebrows, dry hair, especially if you engage in areas which are a bit difficult or shady, if you like, it really increases the likelihood of imprisonment and jail sentence. So now, if you're going to run a decent life, but you've got some of these features, you can moisten or perfume these areas to counteract the dryness as an effect. But that's just one example that's cited in the book. We can turn to Hai and see if there's some others.
I just have some minor things to add to Dr. Benjamin's explanation. So to answer Sarah's question, so like if you look at my ears, so my earlobes, it is type of pointy ears if you read the book. So for this type of earlobes, I really need to, that is one way to fix it, because it's not a good physiognomy. So to fix it, so I need a pair of earrings, and with my physiognomy features, the best color to go with my earring is a jade color. So it's gonna help me to fix the physiognomy, because a pointy ears, a person with pointy ears, gonna have a conflict with if they have a son. Yeah. So that is one way to fix the bad physiognomy, and it can change your life a lot.
Any other questions?
Sometimes we want to change the physiognomy. Sometimes you can change the physiognomy of one person temporarily. Just suppose if she's skinny, you advise her to have a loose cloth instead of tight cloth. It make her look more lively. Or because of the skin color, we advise them to have a different cloth color to make her more friendly. So we can use different things to make a change in the physiognomy, but don't change it. Just contemporary for an interview, for example, or one meeting to resolve a big business deal, something like that. Because if people will look at that person and change their perception about that person.
I just want to ask one thing, but I think it's important to Professor Quyen because his philosophy, Mr. Wong Zin and Professor Quyen Tran, the most important thing is to cover everything in physiognomy is the heart, and the other things underneath like a countenance, voice, form, and colors just are under the heart, and so. To fix it in physiognomy, if you have a bad features, you want to change your face, and to do that, we have different ways to fix the bad physiognomy, like wearing a good earring with a good color, but it works like just a temporary solution. It's like you have a big debt, a credit card debt, and then you borrow money from your friends to pay for the credit card debt, but down the road, you still have to pay for interest. So the ultimate solution to avoid calamities, to avoid bad physiognomy, is doing a charity, doing a good deed.
Any other questions?
For training, is there any courses that you
Courses?
take?
I
Reading the
know.
book or just,
Oh, yeah. So I've asked him so many times to set up a course. So what do you think? Wait.
The website CIIUS.com. From time to time there are some event what to study of the physiognomy of people involved. I have some explanation, some analysis, some reading. You can follow that. But first of all, you have to learn yourself. The way speak you have a lesson, then you become familiar with physiognomy. Reading the book carefully, you can understand 75% of the physiognomy, because I have all the basic data in there, and easily to capture the meaning and the importance of that related to the person who has such a feature. The countenance is the most important domain we should understand first before anything else. We can skip the pages just to look for the countenance, because if your children go home after school, they look terrible, you should know that he has a problem or she has a problem. You have to solve the problem before it becomes more dangerous. Because when the countenance has a problem, it gets exhausted or it gets trouble, it affects the person right away. Learning the countenance is not difficult. You can put two towels, one wet one and one dry one. You compare the two. You see the difference between the two. You can see a leaf, a green leaf and a dry leaf. You can see the difference between the two. A person who is well healthy and become sick and die, you can compare the situation, the three situations, one against the other. You know the countenance has changed so much from healthy to unhealthy today. So you just try to learn the countenance, you know 75% of physiognomy. So you look at chapter 5 related to countenance, read over and over. You master that before you read anything else.
Is it
chapter 5?
I think chapter 6.
Okay, chapter 6 or so.
Chapter 5 is about the walking,
Oh, the walking,
sleeping,
okay.
thing like that.
So chapter 6. But just one thing to add to that about learning more.
Yeah.
Like he is so advanced.
Yeah.
So he has a YouTube channel, and then he analyzes current events, and then he picks. So I think, what is it called, the Fab 5?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the computer does not work well when I present my speech. You can access to our website. We will have the audio, videos, and articles. You can go through each one of them so you can learn some more about physiognomy. And also, we have Facebook and YouTube. If you subscribe to YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook account, we will post any new study case. If you're interested, you will receive a notification of that. And talking about physiognomy, when you learn the book, when you read the book, for example, between me and my wife, for the first few years, we apply it right away. When you go to a store, you will see which cashier you should go. You can get a good deal. You can get a good deal, you know, if you see someone.
I'll get a good deal.
Yeah, you can get a good deal. Or if you see someone, if you want to see if you can get an offer from one person, or you should go to another one. You will see, you can apply that for your daily life.
And then for the realtors, and again, you know how we show homes, know them, so it's scary. So I said, show me the scary one, so that when I meet them in the office, can I trust them, or should I call another agent to go with me? Because, you know, right now it's a scary world, and there's a lot of assaults on realtors. So, but that's what I was always asking, show me, what do they look like, you know?
My son, as a friend, they know each other for 5 years, but my son still cannot understand the real personality of his friend. So one day I came to California, and he showed me his friend's picture, a small picture, and I spent 5 minutes talking about his friend. My son told me that in 5 years I try to understand this person. I cannot. You only 1 second, you know, and enough for you to talk about 5 minutes. So I have to learn it, but because of the work he's doing, he cannot learn it.
So
Based reading, okay, into a level of science, as opposed to other forms of reading, like palm reading, or other things that we might be more familiar with here in the West.
okay, good questions. So science versus palm reading and all the other things that are out there to predict.
And have an explanation by itself. Let's suppose if you look at a person who has a problem, you can see he's not calm. The calmness is shown in his or her eyes, because the eye is the window of the soul of a person. So that's something has been witnessed for a long, long time by everyone. If you like something, you can show from the color of your face. If you don't like something, it can be shown by the color of your face. And it happens quite often and correctly happens. A person just like Lenin, look at his meat substance without studying physiognomy, we still can see that this person will do some very bad thing. And the way he looks, you can say that this person can do something terrible to many people without the blink of his eyes. Those are something we learn from Eastern instinct. We don't need something else. Comparing to palm reading and physiognomy, physiognomy covers many things, including the palm reading. But it concerns only the main feature of the palm reading, not everything. Because something is too small to make sure that it's correct or not correct. In terms of physiognomy, we have many different things to analyze. You read the thing, you get the data, and have to use a very solid logic to analyze the problem. And then you summarize them into conclusion. With physiognomy, we have one problem, but we have a different solution. We're comparing the solution one against the other to get the most probably happen. But that's why we call it's natural science.
I think if you look at medicine as well, there's different doctors who, we have a algorithm that here we see this, we diagnose this, all these symptoms that come up, reading the blood tests and things, it all points in a certain direction. So what Professor Quyen has done is he put the steps down for you, and so it's more methodical and more, I guess you can point at other people, it's feel it or something, and maybe it's intuitive, but it's very you can't put a finger there. So the point of putting all of this together in a book is for us to kind of learn what he's learned through the years, but doing more and more of it, the practice, you become better at it, right? And your instinct and your intuition, becomes more sharpened as you see more cases.
Yeah, I'd like to add some more. The more factors you consider, the better you have a solution, right? In palm reading, you just read the line of the palm. In ngôn ngữ diễn physiognomy, we use countenance, voice, form, and color. So we combine all of those features together and come up with a more accurate solution and a more accurate reading.
Yeah, it's so multi-pronged, but start with countenance and then
Control factor. It controls your color, your form, and your voice. So it depends on, but in opposite way, the voice, the color, and the form can contribute to the countenance of yourself. So it works two ways.
And then you guys can clarify and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if he wants to improve something quickly, it's the countenance. Do the countenance and it can flip your luck very quickly. So. Have I learned anything? And be kind, karma. Good.
At the time, I have one more Spanish book if anybody wants to buy it here. As he said, 100% of the proceeds of the book go to charity.
Exactly.
So a lot of the times when we have maybe a feature that is not great, it is better if we're doing charity. So just look at it that way. We can help you. We have a computer set up if you want to purchase a book here, and then we'll get it signed afterwards. And then number two, you got a lot of benefits and a lot of blessings by being here today and learning some things. So I think that a way of paying it forward is to take a second before you leave today and leave an Amazon review on the book, because you learned a little bit of what's going to be on the book. Beneficial for everybody if you leave just a quick note about the book so that other people, it'll be rated and they can buy it, and then more money goes to the charity. So thank you for being here. That's just my thing.
For opening your minds and giving up your time today, and I hope you enjoy it and look for the Geomancy book coming soon.
thank you very much, Eva, Sarah, and I, and all of you that come here and support. Thank you so much.